Hello and welcome to this week's GMBN Tech Show. Coming up on the show this week, we've got some new helmets from Davies.
Trickstuff brakes.
ENVE have got an inverted gravel seat post, a dropper one.
Yeah, and Rimpact have brought out an XC gravel impact protection for wheels.
Oh, going gravel crazy. Okay, into this week's show, and what we want to talk about this week are tools you can't live without. Now, I think when you brought this up in the office, you were probably thinking it was going to be like 2 or 3 tools, and then when you asked me, I was like, oh, I could be here all day. So I've had to try hard to slim it down. But let's go first with the tools that you really need to go.
Keep it punchy. I thought this was going to be difficult, but actually, no, it's pretty easy. I always have to cut down bars, and this just does the job so well.
No vice, no hacksaw.
Exactly. Simple, I can do it in a campsite if I want to. A proper hammer, not your fancy pants hammer, but
it's not quite Thor's hammer, is it?
I'm always changing my crank arms to 165, so I need a proper job done. And then obviously stuff that keeps you going, so tubeless puncture repair, brilliant.
Absolutely essential.
Best invention since tubeless itself. And then a tyre gauge, obviously, because stuff like that matters. And suspension matters to me as well. So having the right tools for the job that's going to make it easier, winner. Why would I not want that? And then these guys actually save me money. Chain checker, replace it soon enough to save my drivetrain, and then disc straightener. So now I don't have to buy a new one.
Brilliant tool. I do think it can be easy to mess your disc rotors up though. Yeah, I think some people are a bit heavy-handed with them. Got to be delicate.
Possibly, and they are tough with the Ice Tech Shimano ones.
They are indeed.
Yeah, but you know, most of the time. And then from a personal point of view, this gerber has been with me for many years of guiding and
multi-tool,
riding, pliers, cable cutters. I've changed so many dropper post cables on the trails with this. You know, what's not to love about multi-tools, basically.
Why have you got a rock on the desk though? The last tool is a rock. Yeah.
This is shout out to my partner Steve. This is his personal tool. It's lightweight, multifunctional. You can hammer things.
Is he close with Jonesy?
You can file, ends with this. He's used it so many times. I think he's put some bearings in his hub with that. He's used it so many times that it actually worked its way into a toolbox.
Okay. I can't comment on that. Okay, my current favourite, and probably has been for a long time, a mini ratchet multi-tool. This one's got torque bits on it. I've got big hands. This helps me get into little tiny spaces really easily. That goes with me when I go riding. A couple of tools for cutting down brake hoses, basically. This one's like a mini cigar cutter. You might notice it says Avid on it. Yeah, I've had this for a ridiculously long time. So it's now called SRAM. Proper ancient. The Glamour, made by Rollingdale Cycles, and the finish on it is Cerakote, done by Titanium Finishing Company. And a lot of people said, you'll never use that. I beg to differ. I've used this loads. Stuck bolts on bikes, all sorts of small jobs, so we just need to tap it out. Original Park multi-tool. It's not even the right colour anymore, but it's still so good. I've not used the box fresh one I've got to replace it that they sent me, asking me to use it. Flush cut pliers, Park flush cut pliers, for cutting cable ties down. Shock hardware, bolt remover, basically for getting the bushes out on your shocks. Can't do it without, well you can, but you could risk damaging your shock. That gets it done, but you do need a vise to use with that. Nipex, I love these. I've got a few different sets of these, but the 180 size can just about get away with doing a cassette tool. Also, I can change brake hoses and stuff over, so it's quite actually a versatile all-rounder. Couple of picks from Park Tools as well. These ones were given to me by Calvin when he first visited. This one looks knackered now. I think we've driven over that. But super useful for just picking things out of places that you need to.
And it's got your name in it.
It has, yeah. Probably the coolest thing of all. And the last one was a little £5 tool from Amazon. Just a deburring tool for doing steerer tubes or bars inside and out, basically. I know you can get really nice ones, but £5, job done.
It works, yeah.
And they're literally things I use on a daily and weekly basis. Can't live without them.
Absolutely can't live without them. But what can't you live without? Do you agree with our choices or not? Is there a tool that you absolutely cannot live without? Let us know down in the comments below.
Okay, and into news, and the first thing in news this week is a bit of a unique bike rack from a company called Stashed. Now, if you imagine something you might see in an abattoir with all the hooks from the ceiling that slide around, hanging obviously carcasses and stuff, you think the concept's pretty good for bikes, right? Well, Neil's just managed to fit one of these in his own bike cave, so I'm just going to throw it over to Neil. This is a really cool piece of kit, especially if you've got a tight space to work in and lots of bikes to hang up.
Right, I guess before I even sort of think about security now, I need to really tidy up. As you can see, I've got sort of the bike hooks that a lot of people use, which are great. They work really nicely, but my problem is I don't have that much space. And that corner at the end, you can see I've got a pile of stuff there, which is not great. But the garage doors there, so as good as they are, they swivel around. I can't swivel that end because obviously there's a wall there. So it's really hard to get that bike out. If I want the bike at the very end, I've got to kind of take off the one in the middle, or sometimes even take off all of them. So it's a bit of a pain. So I want to look into what I can do with that first, so I can get the bikes into the corner, and then they'll be closer together and I can lock them up a bit better. Anyway, I think it's time to tidy up first. Okay, so I looked into this for ages, sort of what is the best way of using this space. And I came up with these basically. So I've seen these products called Stashed. So these are super clever bike rails where you hook the bike on and then you can slide it and also rotate it. So that means hopefully I can get the bikes into this corner to give me a bit more space down this end of the garage. So that's where my work stand is behind me. And I sort of currently don't use that because I can't really fit the bikes here and bike on the stand as well. So, time to follow the instructions, get this thing fitted. I've got mine mounted on a pitch ceiling, so using these angle brackets up there to get it right. But this will fit on a flat ceiling or even off a wall. One of the really handy things is these hooks, they don't actually move until they're weighted. So they're spring loaded and then it'll slide along super easily. So that when you sort of put your front wheel up to hook on it, if you bang it, it won't slide along until it's weighted and then it can slide any way you want. Also there's little buffers in there, little spacers to stop your bikes from slamming into each other.
Cool, so ENVE have released a brand new dropper post, and this is gravel specific. So check this out from their G series. It is a featherweight of 345 grams with a 40mm drop in it. It's cable operated, and as you can see, it's got this upside down approach, which basically makes it bag friendly if you want to do bike packing. It also keeps it working nice, and you can also cut, because all of the mechanics are in the top end of the dropper. It means you can cut it down at the bottom, so you can push it in more. It's more adaptable for short riders or people who have a really high standover on their gravel frame and they need to push it down in. You can also save up to an additional 50 grams if you did cut off the maximum there. It's available at 27.2 post diameter, but it does come with shims, so you can swap it between 30.9 and 31.6 as well. No air at all in it, no oil, and you can replace the cartridges, so it should be easy to service. That is being sold in the States at the moment for $325, which does sound pricey, but is in line with the DT Swiss similar upside downy carbon gravel and XC dropper, and then also the Fox Factory, so yeah.
And dare I say, quite in line with the rest of the pricing structure for ENVE products.
Yes. Yes.
They're not exactly cheap, are they? But hey, they make great stuff.
They do make great stuff.
Next up in news, Trickstuff brakes. So they've basically got some reimagined brakes. So the Duratis, I can't f***ing say the name. Button off for a sec. And then of course there's a Duratissima, which is the 4-piston option with a heavier duty brake lever, a bit more leverage on there. Now these are, again, 4-piston, €1,100 a set there, and 250 grams of brake. So quite a bit heavier, but it's definitely the sturdier brake out there. I mean, I don't know what you think about the price on these brakes. It's pretty wild, but everyone I know that has tried them has said they're literally like the best thing you can bolt on a bike. But hey, you need to pay for that sort of tech.
Raw CNC'd aluminium.
Makes me hot and clammy.
So next up, Day and Easy have released 2 new helmets. They've got the Linear 3 MIPS and the Linear 1 MIPS. So check that out. Linear 3 is the open face. It's focusing on being light and vented. So it's 340 grams in a size medium. Lots and lots of vents, adjustable fit from $149, depending on how many features you want added to it. And then you've got the Linear 1 MIPS, which is the full face, which basically they're trying to make super vented and light as well, but obviously it's a full face, so that is 570 grams in a medium. Toolless adjustable visor, and that is $279. And they both come with the Twice Me NFC system, which is Dainese own brand chip inside the helmets, where you can basically upload all of your health information for any potential rescuers. Hopefully you won't need.
Good bit of kit. They've been knocking out some really good protection for many years. When body armour first came into mountain biking, everyone used to wear their crazy body armour suits, but they'd wear it on the outside of stuff,
very
making it
Euro.
like a sort of like an exoskeleton sort of thing. Pretty cool. Okay, next up, some rim protection from the Rimpact company. So this is essentially for gravel and cross country. Now, you see them on screen here, so they're 187 grams per insert in the 29-inch size. They're using a dual density technology, so basically a dual density foam this size. So they've got a firmer material and a softer material to give a bit of sensitivity and then a bit of sort of hard-hitting impact protection there. Now, it's suitable for rim widths between 20 and 30 mil and tyre widths of 40 to 55 C or 1.5 inch to 2.35 inch. Now, when people start bringing out tyre inserts for cross-country, I think to start with, a lot of people are like, why would you do that? But actually, I think it almost makes more sense for the sort of the super light tyres than it does even for heavier duty tyres. Now, I'm just looking at the tyre in the background there, so Vittoria Mezcal, and that's in the Pro casing. That's insanely thin, it's a great tyre, but I'm running those with a cross-country support on the inside there, and it makes a massive difference, and they're barely any weight, 187 grams. It's not a lot, so you can run lower pressures, you can use it as a ride-home system, so you can run them flat, basically if you needed to in a race situation. Made in the UK, £99.99 for a set, which is $122 give or take, and that's also including 2 of their valves to make sure you can inflate them correctly. I think it's pretty cool stuff. There's a lot of tech coming out there. It's transferring to the gravel world as well, which I'm sure will please you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's quiz time. So, first question of the day. Industry 9 Hydra hubs have 690 points of engagement, but how much rotation is there between each engagement?
I know this one.
Try and work it out. The ENVE gravel dropper post uses an inverted design, but who else has made this in the past? And back on screen, eyes up. What does this do? Any ideas?
Okay, into comments then, and we look at some comments from last week's show. We were looking at some of the bikes from the Grand Tour Divide. So the first one was from Scarable. The diversity of bikes used there is great, and getting first place with the budget hardtail is even more impressive. Totally agree, yeah. Also, the single speed cult got an opportunity to show off their insane endurance.
Insane.
You just say their insanity, really, to be fair.
Crazy, 3,000 miles on a
hats
single
off
speed.
to anyone that even attempts to do that.
Jiraj says, relatively simple bikes, often with inexpensive components, are good for super hard races. That means many of us should be less cocky and not buy higher end XX1 or XTR components for amateur riding.
I agree, but if someone wants to buy something that makes them happy and they can afford to do it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. At the same time, right. Next up from Dave Clark, I've become slightly obsessed with bikepacking over the last few years, so I'm thrilled to see the content on the channel. Combines everything I love about mountain biking with everything I love about exploration, wild camping, and more importantly, geeking out about gear. Tour Divide's on the bucket list for me. Well, fair play, dude. In the meantime, I'm settling for Bristol to Butte solo in a couple of weeks. Hey, nice.
That sounds like a nice trip.
What a time of year to do it as well. Awesome stuff.
That's riding from here to the coast,
Yeah.
isn't it? That's nice.
Yeah.
Alex said, for me, bikepacking is the greatest form of cycling. What's better than exploring new trails day after day? The sense of freedom it gives you is like nothing else. You have everything you need to survive, which is not much, and the whole world is your oyster. Yeah, totally agree. That sounds like mountain biking to me.
There is a problem. You're going to have to take massive bags with you to fill of food. She can't go literally 5 minutes without eating this one.
And where am I going to fit it on an XX small frame?
Ride a tandem. Next up is from Space Jam Goliath. Winning these on a cheaper hardtail. I have a new favourite rider and I don't even know their name. Yeah. Like literally, it's unbelievable.
And wrapping it up with coffee here, you have to do a video on bike touring and how it is different from bikepacking. Yeah, I think we got a lot of comments on, oh, is this a roadie thing? Should this be on GCN? The race is a mountain bike race at the end of the day, and bike packing is predominantly
maybe
off-road.
there needs to be a collaboration video between us.
Maybe.
So there's a few of those GCNers that do like to ride off-road, so
I do.
yeah, we'll probably have a bit of fun with those. All good. Okay, so for top mods, I just wanted to run you through a few things on the Mondraker bike that I built for the video that went out the weekend. There are quite a few comments asking about some of the spec on it that wasn't really sort of overly mentioned in the video. So obviously the frame is an XL, so that's a Raise RR SL. It's got a Fox DPS shock running the Fox 36 with a Grip 2 damper on the front, so that's the factory model. Wheels, of course, are Industry 9, so it's the T270s on there, so the rims are 27mm internal, and of course it's got the Hydra hub on the rear. Post is 1UP components, 210 drop. I couldn't get the full length 240 in the frame, and you see it's just set out a bit, and I think that's the maximum I can get. But to be fair, 210mm drop is quite a ways, so it's not a problem. Physique Tundra saddle on here. Sorry, the Alpaca saddle, got that wrong. Cool thing about that, it's got a multi-tool on here, and it carries two 16-gram CO2 cartridges directly in there, so you can just forget that they're there. It's a little mud flap that goes over the tool, and you've got the little converter there for the CO2 as well. Handlebars, 800mm, 40mm rise, carbon fat bars from Renthal. They actually sent me the team colour, which is quite cool, rather than the regular black versions. And that's only because I know Ian at Renthal. I've worked with him for many years, and he knew what I was doing, so he just sent a cool set. I also went for their ultra tacky grips, which I absolutely love these, so I love running without gloves basically. So even with sweaty hands or wet hands, the grip is unreal. XTR trail brakes, XTR shifter, XTR transmission essentially, except for the XT chain and the XT rear derailleur on there. I went for the Vittoria Mazda tyre because actually I love it. It works great locally. It works for everything I need. I've got muck-off sealant on the inside. I was going to change the valves for the reserve valves, which I really like, but actually there was nothing wrong with the valves that came on the Industry 9 wheel, so I left those, although I did put purple caps on, which I've got for some muck-off valves that I'd lying around at home. XTR trail pedals as well on there, and a Fidlock bottle system. So something quite neat about this on this particular frame is it comes with a little blanking cap to fit a regular bottle cage over, or you remove it and the Fidlock one flush fits on the inside there, so you don't even really see it, so it just further enhances the look of it on the frame. And of course there's the Mind telemetry system. So this is a system that's built into the rocker and into the front fork here. It syncs with an app on your phone, and it enables you to set up a really accurate sag rating on the bike, and then based on that rating it gives you good base settings for your high speed compression, your rebound, your low speed compression, etc. for your front and rear shocks. When you go for a ride, it maps what you're using, where you're using, how frequently you're using it, how many times you bottomed out, the air time, all this sort of stuff, and then it makes further recommendations on if you need to put more pressure and stuff in. Awesome system. I'm sure some of you are going to have some more questions about the bike. Please do get involved down there. I know there are a bunch of questions on the actual video as well. I just wanted the opportunity really just to give it a bit more love, because the video, as beautiful as it was, I don't think I went into enough detail about some of the stuff on there. But hey, what do you reckon? Definitely super nice from my perspective.
Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for, it's quiz answer time. So, Industry 9 Hydra hubs have 690 points of engagement. How much rotation is this?
0.52 degrees. Don't know why I said it in that voice, but yeah, 0.52 degrees.
Nerd alert.
Almost instant.
Almost instant. And then the ENVE gravel dropper post has an inverted design, but who did this first?
DT Swiss.
They did, back in 2020.
It was a longer drop though, to be fair, and it wasn't intended for gravel. It was just a lightweight XC post, but
slightly different workings. Yeah,
similar concept.
Okay, and what does this do?
Not used one of them for a long time. It's a wheel dish alignment tool.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know what that means, what does that mean?
All right, so the best way to think about it is with a rear hub. If you look at where the flanges of the hub on, where the cassette is, if you were to just lace the wheel up in line, it would be the centre of the hub. So use a dishing tool to basically help you align the rim with the centre of the hub, which isn't actually where the flanges are. I haven't got a hub to show you. Here we go. There's one to give you an example. So that is not the centre of the hub, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, well there we go. That's the end of this week's show. I'd like to know how I got on in the quiz, and definitely get involved down there with your tool questions about our choices, and tell us which ones actually can't you live without. What do you use on a daily basis? Thanks as always for commenting.
Thanks for watching.
See you later.